All right, so let's look at the example here. My screen, so let me just change the view in the code pen so that we see the results over here. All right, so just to quickly recap, so we could change our name in this resume template by just deleting this here.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the first task to do. Let me minimize these so we can see the code. That clearer. All right, so this line here that goes across, this horizontal line, that was created by, who can guess what tags created that? Notice that it appears below my name, so if you're doing some investigation, where would you say it was? Okay, so what it means is that we have the line tag being created by the HR here. All right, do you notice that? So this HR tag, if I was to remove it, you'd see that line disappear. This is how you investigate what the code does. But of course, you'd have to have been playing around with it, okay? So that's important for your learning. You have to actually fool around, experiment, test out the code to know what it does. So when I put that back in, let's see if we get the line back. And there we have the dividing line back to kind of give it a little bit of a fancy structure, okay? All right, now the list I was mentioning before, if you see here, you have a UL surrounding these list items like a sandwich. And this UL causes you to have regular bullet points. But if you scroll down and you look at where we have the education that is numbered 1, 2, 3, right? If you notice that actually has a different type of list. So that has an OL. Here's the section for that. That has an OL for ordered list. So let's experiment and see what would happen if we change the interest, the food, photography, design, programming, computer science. We're going to change this from a UL to an OL and see what happens to the bullets. All right, so pay attention and watch me carefully. All right, so I'm going to change it to OL. You see what happened there? If you can see what happened there, just type yes. All right, so let me change it back to the unordered list. So notice that the top one is automatically affecting the bottom one when we use codepen. So it puts in the closing tag that matches it. So there's a UL at the top and a UL here, and the LI defining the list items in the middle. You really just have to look and see what happens with the code when you change things. Let me change it one more time. I'm going to change this from UL to OL. O as in orange. This one is updated automatically, the closing one. And there it goes, it numbers them. So the OL is a numbered list, and the UL is an unordered or non-numbered list. Okay? So that is something that you want to play around with and experiment on your own. Okay? We want to look at some other things that are new here. So we see there's a set of unordered list items here. So that's not a surprise because we saw that at the top here with the interest. All right, if you wanted to add another item here, say you wanted to add another item to the skills, let's go where the skills are. So this item here, want to put it below it. So we press the enter key here, type the open angle bracket, and LI to add a list item. Remember, this is inside of the UL tag, okay? Always remember it's a sandwich structure, okay? Like a hamburger sandwich. And we could type graphic design, for example. And you close the tag with a slash. So you copy the examples you see on the screen before you until you learn to make your own examples. So if you look here in the preview, we now have 2 skills with a bullet. That wasn't there before. So let me remove this just to show you what it looked like before. All right, and there you go. Okay, and let me put it back. So you can only get the bullets appearing beside your text if you put it inside of a list structure like this. Okay, we can do this by itself, all by itself. Let me show you what this would look like all by itself. So I'm going to delete all of this because I can undo it. I'm going to actually destroy our resume structure by getting rid of all the information there. Just leaving this on the screen. So notice what you have here. All right, so this is a paragraph tag, creating the paragraph heading for skills. Now we can make this bigger, so we could add a H1 tag there, because remember the H1 tags control the size. So should we add it at the top? I mean on the outside here. Let's see if that's what will do it. Or there should be a closing brace, so you can see whenever you make an error, it doesn't give you the right result. So now it makes everything H1 size, right? Header 1 size. So let me delete that and show you that the header 1 tag made a difference. So when I remove it, everything goes back to normal size. But the reason why it affected all of the text is because I didn't have a closing tag there. So let me go ahead and put both the opening tag around it and a closing tag, and we should see the difference. All right, it only affects skills. Only skills becomes heading type 1. Any questions?
So, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, connected again. So actually, you're trying to say that H1 means the font size?
It's, in a sense, you could say the font size, but it's accurately said to be a header size. It's a predefined size. It's not really the font size, technically speaking, but it changes the size of the font. There are specific ways that you can change the size of the font to make it size 18, 5, 4, 20, but do not call it a font size change. It's a header. It's a predefined header size.
All right, then.
It still
Noted.
it still makes your text bigger, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It still makes the text bigger, so it's just something that is set in HTML that you can use to change the size of text. Now there are levels going down to 6, you know. So I could, for example, say H2, H3, it goes right down to 6. I won't do all 6, right? I'll probably skip 1 and even do 4. This is the second header size. So you can see what it does there. This is the fourth header size. See the difference there in sizes? So that's what the H tags do. They just give you a quick way to make the text
Yes,
bigger
sir.
or smaller, right? We don't need to use these tags here, so we're going to delete them. But I was trying to show you a while ago
Mm-hmm.
that we have the tag that we use for making text in a paragraph. And I'm just reviewing this quickly for those who may have joined late. So this paragraph tags here gives us a space below here. The space in between the skills and the web design. If I took out the paragraph tag, let me show you, and just had the header tag for the size. First of all, let me take out all the tags and just have the word there. What would happen if we just had the word skills there? All right. Well, it would look like this. It's going to update, right? So it still gives the space because the UL has a defined space in it already. That gives you a new line space, all right? But because we wanted these skills to be a bigger size, we added the header tag there, right? So we actually didn't need it for this one, but it worked out that it gave us a space below. So let me close that. So I didn't have to have a closing tag, but the reason why I put the closing tag is because I want only the word skills to be this size. If I took off the closing tag like I'm doing now, it's going to make everything a big header size. See that? So when I add the closing tag, it stops that formatting right with the word skills. Okay. Now we're really focusing on the list part here for today's class. So you notice I had to have the UL to make the list start. So if I want to take away this, just to have less way to focus on. For me to create that bullet list there, I need to have this UL tag there. I'm making a space for another one, but I didn't need to do that right now. What would happen if I took off this closing UL? Well, we still see the bullets, right? But the thing is that anything I type going forward, it doesn't get a bullet beside it. It comes below the graphic design, which is actually not spelled correctly. It should be here. Right. But you notice that the NBE, even though I type it like this, it just appears below, but it doesn't get a bullet. You notice that? All right. So that's what happens when you don't have the closing tag there. But what would happen if I got rid of the other UL tag? Would we still see the bullets? We do see the bullets, but we have no structure. So if we go ahead and were to type something above this, we get no bullet beside it. If we type something after that we wanted to add another item in the list, we get no bullet there. You see that? So that's why it's important for us to have the UL to tell HTML that this web page from this point forward is going to be in the form of a list. So let me put the closing tag here, /UL to close it. Remember, tags come in pairs in this case. Then I still have to do one other thing. I have to put the li here to show that this is a list item, okay? I notice that the bullet points now appear beside them. I know it's foolishness that I type there. That's not a sensible word, but I'm just proving a point here that we wouldn't have gotten that without that structure there. Okay? So this is how you want to create the list. You want to show that the list starts here. You start it with UL. The list ends here. You end it with a closing /UL. Now, if you wanted numbers here instead of the bullet points, we change it from UL to OL. So just make a note of this, right? Hopefully you have your notebook beside you, you're making notes. That's all I had to do to have it numbered. And if I add another item to the list, it's going to be called list number 5 because it's being counted. So I'm going to put li and let me type more stuff. You see it's numbered as 5, right? Because anything that's added in this OL list will be numbered. If I add one more item, it's going to be number 6. Still more things. See, it called it number 6. Now, if I change this OL structure to UL, it's going to go back to the bullets, not numbers. See there? So the opening UL, a closing UL. Can everyone see that? Can type a yes in the chat if you can see that. Okay. So let me go back and bring back our big resume page. I just did this in a smaller size to have us focus on the list, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to undo all of these changes. Bring back our resume. Okay. So I was isolating just a part of the code, the list code, for example, like what you'd have here, so you could better understand what was happening there. All right, you may need to watch this video again for it to be reinforced, and I understand that. Okay, we also have a link in this video. So if we clicked on virtual high school, it would go to google.com because I set it as google.com because we don't have a high school called google.com. But the way you add links is to first have a tag called an A tag. So let me stretch out the screen here so you can see it a little better in one line. So for the list, for you to create a list that will link to another page, you would use the anchor tag. So look at how I have done it here, and you can practice with this example. Change this website here to another website like CNN.com or any website that you like. So don't do anything else in the resume example. So when you click on your codepen example that I sent you, you're going to make some changes and just change this HTTP, change the www part to another website. So I'm going to change this from Google and let me call it Microsoft.com. So www.microsoft.com. So you're going to learn just by changing small parts of the code. All right, now I've made a change. So if I click on this link here, it says virtual high school, but to make it make more sense, I could type go to Microsoft website. And you see the text change over here. And if I actually click on it, it will go to the Microsoft website. All right, well, it's not working in this example here. Wow, somebody has their mic unmuted. Boy. That was Allison. All right, I just muted you. So you can play around with that and see what website it goes to. All right, it's not working in this example here. Microsoft did not connect, but that's how that would work there. We'll probably do more with the anchor tags to show you how you create lists in the future. But for right now, we'll just leave it at that. Let me see. I think Google.com wasn't a problem. That worked when we used that example. Okay, it's not opening the code here, but let me try saving this. Let me go up. Save. Just to make sure I have that change there. Let me get a website example here. Let's see. I can think of a website like. Let me get a Pinterest link. Usually works easily for a link. Just one moment while I grab a quick link here to an item on Pinterest. All right, so I'm going to copy this address and let me go over and change it here. I need the Pinterest.com, sorry. All right, so we're basically just doing here is linking to another page on the internet. That's the point of the A tag. So Pinterest, to make sure I spell it correctly. And let this label make sense because this is the label that we'll see on the screen. So go to the Pinterest website. All right, so codepen won't allow us to see that there. I'll need to, let's see here. All right, I'll need to copy this out and probably try this in another file so that you can see what it actually does. Just a moment, let me just put it up in another file and then allow you to see what this would actually do in an actual HTML file. All right, so I'm going to save this file on my local computer and place it on the desktop. All right, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second here. All right, so I'm going to share my entire screen. All right, so here is the web page displayed in Microsoft Edge. So this is not in a CodePen environment. This is actually in a real life browser, separate and apart from any CodePen. We did have an error there, so I need to resave the file. So this is a text editor called Notepad. So when you're making files for your website, you will use your computer to create files. Of course, I would be using the Atom editor or some other editor actually to have a more professional experience, but you can actually use something as simple as a Notepad that is a part of your free Windows package. So if I reload this page, you should see this angle bracket here that got crept in the code there. It should disappear because I just removed it. And there you see it went. So if I click here, go to the Pinterest website, you see here that it actually works. It sends me to Pinterest. Okay. It wasn't showing the results in CodePen, but when I saved as an actual HTML page, as you can see here, it's on my computer. It's named index.html as a file, and it's on my desktop. Okay, let me stop sharing right now. Are any questions? All right, yes, it's a perfect time for you to try and fool around with your own document now. But I just want to show you one more time on my screen here that what I did for you to get the example of linking to another website to work. Let me show you. Let's see here. So I created a file on my desktop called index.html, and what's inside of that file, I first had opened the Notepad and typed in the code, but it's the full code for a web page. It has the HTML head, body, all that good stuff there. Closing HTML tag, so it's not just a snippet of the page that we had. I had to put these other things there for the page to work. And the link that we had there that went to Pinterest, etc., when I clicked on it, it actually did what we wanted it to do, all right? So this page here that you see here, when I click on, if I click on this, it will take me to CNN because that's what we set this link to. This was set to Pinterest.com. So back on your CodePen, when you see the links that were placed there, it didn't open in CodePen, right? But it was correct code. So we see here that I sent this to Pinterest.com. Just notice how it is structured, okay? And you just change this to another website that you want to go to. So play around with it first before you try to create your own anchor links. And you may need to review this video as well. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing here and end the recording.